Welcome to Mike's Vintage Computer Corner. This episode I will demonstrate operation of an Apple IIc, and I won't talk too much about its specs because you can go to Wikipedia and get the specs, but I did want to point out on the rear of the device some of the interfaces it comes with. There are two serial ports, a mouse port or a slash joystick port, a video port, a composite video output, and a floppy disk interface. Altogether, the machine is essentially an Apple IIe with a couple of added serial cards, and it came out in 1984, almost the same time as the original 128K Macintosh, and it has the same kind of memory, 128K of memory. In this episode, I'll be demonstrating it with a single floppy drive, be loading basically software that runs Apple DOS 3.3 and run a few games and so on. Alright, to boot it up, I'm going to leave the sound on and you can hear all the noises of the floppy seeking and all that. Once it's booting, I'm going to peek address 64447, and that'll give you the version of ROM in this machine. And a 255 is the first version of the ROM. It actually doesn't have a version number. And next, I'm going to run a program written by Bob Bishop called APPLEVISION. So this program goes way back to the early days of Apple computers. I know I was running it probably in 1978 or 1979 on my original Apple II. And for the time, it was kind of a fun program. So let's just enjoy the thing run. For those that don't know, this is actually done in high-res graphics mode, the original high-res mode, not the double high-res mode for the Apple II. For those of you who noticed it, I was adjusting the volume, and the volume pod is probably needs some cleaning as it was making some crunching noises during adjustment. Next, I'll run a AppleSoft low-res color graphics demo, and this is an original program that dates way back to the early days of the Apple II, though the original version was integer basic. This version is AppleSoft. The colors look pretty washed out in this video, but in real life they're much better than that. And so that was just a listing of all the 15 colors in low res mode, and here's a little kaleidoscope program they had along with it included in the demo. And I think this in the day was kind of cool thing, although nowadays with the Mandelbrot programs they have, it's nothing. But it was cool back in the day. And just for kicks, I'll dump the basic listing so you can see what that looks like. Pretty short little program. And next I'll run animals program that also dates back to the early days of Apple, and this is a guessing game where the computer guesses what kind of animal you're thinking of. And I think in this case I was thinking of a rabbit. Let's see how it works. Okay, next up I'm going to run a system test diagnostic program called APTEST, and this will basically check out a lot of the hardware of the Apple IIc and prove that it's all working. The RAM tests take a long time, so I kind of cut the middle of that out just because it takes so long. I'm skipping over the disk speed test because you basically have to sacrifice a floppy disk, and I don't have a lot of spares floating around for that test. The keyboard test is kind of interesting. It basically expects you to type every key on the keyboard, including with shifted and controlled. So this takes a couple of minutes, but it's worth running through. It's interesting, the Apple IIc supported a door vac keyboard layout, which was a thing back in those days. And that's what there's a little keyboard button on top of the unit, and that'll switch it to door vac mode. And that button's kind of sticky. When you push it down, it really doesn't want to come up. It does come back up, so it's probably the grease in it or whatever's gotten sticky. But it does work, and I've put it into door vac mode off camera and typed on the keyboard, and I got the strange door vac layout. So that's kind of a cool thing. The 4080 column card switch is also a little sticky, and the caps lock switch is kind of sticky. Back in the day when I first got this machine, I took it apart for some reason. I can't remember why, but it's really worked well. I did get off eBay another power supply because it didn't come with one. I was powering it off a 12 volt or a lab power supply. It took about a little more than an amp to run the the unit with the floppy running. I don't know exactly what the serial port tests. I'm sure it reads and writes the serial port chips, but it certainly can't test the hardware out to the port, and I haven't bothered to hook something up to the serial port. The modem port is just the other serial port. This auxiliary RAM test acts kind of funny. I don't know if that's actually reporting an error or what's going on with that. Maybe somebody can add something to the comments. Finally, I'm going to reboot DOS 3.3 and write a simple little program for your enjoyment. My main thing with vintage computers is restoring them, getting them working, recreating whatever. This Apple IIc, I've had it a long time, haven't used it. My other Apple IIs kind of satisfy the need for having an Apple II, so I'm going to be listing this one on eBay in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully somebody responds with a comment on that auxiliary RAM test error or whatever it is. Definitely want to make sure it's working before I list it for sale, but it will be going up for sale.